Hello, my name is Jim, and this is your Daily Brogue for the 11th of July, 2021. This is really efficient, the way I'm doing this. Anyways, where did we get last time? We got to why we needed something other than special relativity. So, talking about quantizing time, the quantizing time conference, how it was interesting, maybe eventually my own thoughts about stuff. But right now we're just saying, well, what was that conference about? Well, doing something to make time quantum, okay, whatever that means. We might have to talk a little bit about that. But there were two sorts of people at the Quantizing Time Conference. One was people from Quantum Foundations. The other was from people from the gravitation, quantum gravity community. So what we want to find out is, why are the guys in the quantum gravity community even interested in quantizing time? Well, it turns out that's their business, right? So what we're saying is that gravity is really gravitation is really the science of space and time, how space and time get put together. And that's been true since Einstein, since about 1905, or actually 1918. So Einstein started this process with special relativity and continued it with general relativity, right? And so where we were was, we found that special relativity more or less required us to change the way we thought about space-time. So originally we thought space-time was sort of absolute, space and time were orthogonal. Then we went to an idea that space and time were relative, and relative in a particular way, how that worked. That is, space and time look different depending on, how fast you're going. That's pretty much it, right? If you're going fast, then space and time look different than if you're not, right? And there's no way to tell between how fast you're going, whether or not. There's no absolute reference frame. That might actually come up later. There's no particular reference frame which is perfect, right? Which is maybe not perfect, but which has more to do with how amazing the world is than anything else, right? So that requires a little bit of a modification to gravity, the way we think of gravity, right? And that modification is, or modification to how we think of space-time. And that modification is basically like when you modify gravity, or not gravity, but geometry, and it's very much a geometrical modification, just in a slightly different way than this. By removing the parallel postulate, right, from Euclid. So you remember Euclid had 5 postulates, assumed to be independent. People thought, well, maybe one of them is not independent, the parallel postulate. Maybe you didn't need all 5 of them, but you do, right? Problem is that if you're doing geometry with the straight edge and compass, pretty much stuck. You're always going to be doing everything on the plane anyway, so you end up with triangles with angles that add up to 180 degrees. But if you're on the surface of the sphere, that's not what happens, right? The triangles have angles that add up to more than 180 degrees. And that's because between any 2 points there are many different too bad I don't have a buddy. Generation poison. Where is it now? Okay. Why does that always happen? Okay, so let's sneak around a little bit, see what we can find. Oh, invisible. Call that out of depth vampire bat. So we just changed the way we do geometry, just like that. Just sort of like that, right? A little more like that in just a minute, actually. So that little change, okay, when we went to eat a mango. I don't see anything in there, so we will not tempt the eel. So that little change gave us what we call Minkowski spacetime. And we had a little bit of a problem there, and that was gravity doesn't quite work in a Minkowski spacetime. There's some issues with it. One is highly conceptual, right? Newtonian gravity doesn't work, I should say. One is really conceptual, that is, in Newtonian gravity, gravity propagates instantaneously. There's no speed of gravity. And that's very much different than what we have in general relativity. And it's the second time in 2 days that I saw that. In general relativity, so one of the points about general relativity is rationalizing the two theories, right? Rationalizing these ideas from special relativity and with gravitation, Newtonian gravitation. Saying, okay, can they both be true at the same time? Or if they are both true at the same time, because I'm sure the idea was they both have to be true, what does that mean? How do you have to modify the theory? It turns out you have to do things pretty strangely, right? So basically, because of the problems with gravity, that's why Einstein had to turn gravity into a geometrical theory rather than some other kind of theory. So now, basically what happens after that is general relativity becomes a theory of spacetime, period. Being a theory of spacetime. Its main, or as a theory of spacetime, what it does, right? What that's different, let's say, from other theories, is that it makes space and time, well, space and time were already interrelated, right? That was special relativity, right? The special relativity's main concern was that space and time should become aspects of the same thing. So we made that good. And that's what the Minkowski space is that's why you can see it in different ways at different speeds. I run out of darts? Pretty close. Very good. Now we have a very explicit theory of space-time. So it was kind of explicit. We had an idea that special relativity was a theory of space-time previously. However, you really get this impression when you start studying general relativity, right? So we have this special theory of relativity. We end up with a general theory of relativity, which basically makes gravitation a geometrical phenomenon and has some rules for how gravity changes the world, basically. It's sort of the way to think about it. How does gravity do the stuff that it does? That's by warping space-time, and it basically turns gravity into a geometric theory like, there's a little bit of a difference, but like that spherical geometry I was talking about. Could call it Gaussian geometry if you'd like. Gravity becomes something. There is a way through here, I just don't know what it is. No, crap. Motion of life, crap. Shit. Okay. Now they're right down there by the entrance. So gravity becomes something like spherical geometry. It's a little more general than that, but it has some sort of warpness to its behavior. It's more like right, so if the Minkowski space is flat, which it is, like the I shouldn't have done that. Yeah, too late. If the Minkowski space is flat, like a regular geometry, then there's a blue potion there. There's a blue potion there. I don't know what a blue potion is. Lots of goodies on this level. So telepathy. A lot of goblins in there, but something. Sapphire blinking and scroll. Crap, there are a lot of heals in there. Don't know where that scroll went. There it is. Okay, a bunch of monkeys. That confused each other. So now we go down. Abuse, hallucination. Great. Exactly what I don't need. Okay, well, J, appended mail. More plate armor. I, move curse. Okay, so I have nothing bad. Okay, I know what's going on. Crap, I don't know what I threw. Crap. W, protect weapon. That's not really what I wanted to protect, but I don't have any other weapons. Shattering. This guy came back, so H, recharging. I, E, aggravate monsters. Y, F, negation. Or did I lose a staff? Don't know where I lost a staff, god damn it. That's not what I wanted to do. Lost the staff of discord and 1,000 monkeys. Okay, so where were we? We were talking about what general relativity did. So general relativity gave us a way to think about space and time as gravity as a theory of space and time. How does geometry of space-time fit together? This is fine, right? I'm in the middle of a trap. Okay, so these are so there's a good thing at the end of this. I can manage not to kill myself. Being that you have two little problems. There's the key. And we'll go the other way. Oops. Okay. We are low on, probably identifies. Oh, there's my staff of firebolt. That's what I threw at the goblins accidentally. Not completely sure if that was worth it. So when you're trying to quantize gravity, when you're trying to put together a theory of gravity at the smallest level, you still have to deal with all of the issues with space and time. Like the one, okay, those guys are sleeping and all they have are shit. Identify thinking. And dead again. Okay, so that's why you need quantum gravity, is because you're trying to, why gravity needs to understand quantum time, which is because gravity itself is geometrical in nature. That is, and geometry includes time, from special relativity to general relativity to quantum gravity. And understanding how you make little tiny bits of time at the smallest level, right? Quantized gravity is discrete little points in space-time, although, you know, they're quantum points, probably. They don't have a good theory of it. Quantum points meaning, you know, they have, you know, some sort of weird probabilistic nature that can't really be dependent on, you know, some sort of time evolution, because we'd be assuming time and things like that. So those are the things that the quantum gravity community is interested in. So I guess next time we'll talk about why Quantum Foundations is interested in them, and then try to explain what I think about it if we ever get there, because this has just been going on forever.